another quick story. When I was in the green room one time with Trent Lott, Senator Lott, Senator Lott looks over across the room at me and says, Colonel Shaffer, could I give you a couple pieces of advice? Senator, go right ahead. He says, well, first off, you've already figured this one out. It's never good to be right ahead of your time. And I said, yeah, I got that, Senator. And this next one was very key, and I've never forgotten this. He said, always, my other point to you, always remember, whatever they're talking about in the press, the issue is always something else. And so that was like chilling. It's like, there's something else here. And frankly, I don't even know what everything else is here. But the thing is, the incremental use of people like Peter to burrow at the truth, to work to get to the bottom line, is necessary and important to our system. And I don't care if you're right or left, center. Bob Barr's a friend of mine, libertarian. Oh, okay, go be libertarian there, Bob. Good luck with that. But the idea here, the truth is the truth. And so recently, another book, which I'm not plugging.
You should plug it. It's a good book.
Mike Casper pointed out to us that there's a book out there, a book about Afghanistan where they talk about Able Danger. And it's like, okay, well, I was in Afghanistan, but I know that Able Danger had nothing to do, the project itself had nothing to do with Afghanistan. So he sent me the link, and here is a guy named General Lambert. General Lambert is a huge figure in the Able Danger story. General Lambert, by his own admission, and this is documentable, was the J3, the senior operations officer under General Schoonmaker and Special Operations Command. The J3 runs everything. He's the man. And I actually sat in briefings at DIA with General Lambert, and this is one of those notable things. You won't find it where it's written down yet, but I was in a meeting with the deputy director of DIA, with General Lambert, and the guy who was briefing just kept messing up the information about Able Danger. So I ended up stepping in and giving the brief. And Jerry Clark was the deputy director of DIA. He's a good guy. Jerry looks over at me and says, Tony, you seem to know a lot about this operation. It's like, yeah, I'm one of the members of it. Oh, okay, so they got it. And the thing was, though, my point here is to illustrate the fact that this was no small thing. You don't go in and brief the deputy director of DIA. And later I actually briefed George Tenet and Stephen Cambone, two notable names, on aspects of Able Danger because of all the other operations with other great cover names of what we were doing. So General Lambert, maybe he thinks that he's off now. He is interviewed for this book called Horse Soldiers, about the early days of the Afghan War, about 2001 and 2002, when we were having special operations guys riding horses, which by special operations standards is a very benign story. That's very benign. And so he makes a comment on page 27, and basically he's interviewed. He says, yeah, within 10 seconds I knew who did the attack. It was Al-Qaeda. And I knew that because, when they were showing Atan on the TV, I'd already seen his picture because of this top secret project that I was overseeing. And frankly, they came to me with information about him during the time we were running the project, and they told me that, hey, we have cells, Al-Qaeda cells in the United States. And the lawyers just couldn't give me good guidance on what to do, and they recommended we not pass it to the FBI. So I feel awful now because this, had I passed the information, we could have probably stopped this. I think it's a pretty big admission. I don't know. I've been holding the bag on this for like the last 4 years by myself, so it's a pretty big admission.
Huge.
So I have said this, and again, I referred back to Mike's testimony.
You didn't see the picture when he had the Al-Qaeda cells.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he knew about the cells and was told about it. So the thing that we have to understand now is that I guess people think that he's off and they can just say whatever they want. And within the context of Able Danger and this whole thing, I've said this publicly a lot, and I was excoriated for it. I was investigated by the DOD-IG, and they said, "Oh, he's just out for himself." Well, they didn't accuse me of making anything up. They said he was mistaken. He's just out for he's out for personal benefit. I don't know what personal benefit they exactly thought it was after, but that's what they said. And just for the record, and Peter and I've talked about this a lot, they finally got me. I guess as Patrick Vizgero can figure out as a prosecutor, they're going to get you on something if they really want you, And they came after me on 3 issues, and I know this has been talked about, but I think it's worth noting again. They got me on $67 of illegal expenditures on a phone bill. Acquired, by the way, I might add, during the time I was in command of a unit prosecuting a counterterrorism mission, a base called Operating Base Alpha. And these charges were incurred at 75 cents per time over 18 months because I was forwarding phone calls from a government phone to my personal phone. Oh, that's illegal. You can't do that. That's $67 worth of loss for the government. Of course, they missed the point that they spent $1.5 million on the investigation to figure this all out. So that's tax dollars at work. And then the second issue was I went to beautiful New Jersey. New Jersey again is in the story, to go to school so I could be promoted to lieutenant colonel. I had to do it or else I wouldn't get promoted. And filed a voucher for the mileage. Oh, you went no expense to the government. I did. I went on my own dime because I knew if I didn't attend the school, I'd not get promoted. And they said, oh, well, you shouldn't claim mileage. Why not? Well, you say, it's free. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. I was going to a military school. And it went through 3 levels of review when I submitted it. So it wasn't like I was trying to get over it. The amount, $180. And lastly, I got an undue award of the Defense Meritorious Service Medal. And this was a medal that was put in for me. I wrote it, put into the system for able danger, for work on able danger. And their conclusion was in this report is that you somehow convinced General Dayton, you convinced him to sign this award for you. You forced him to do it. A lieutenant colonel forced a 2-star general to sign an award. That was their conclusion. Now, the funny thing, and the good news is here, although they were able to revoke my clearance, Army didn't buy it. At the time, I was a major when this all happened, and I stand before you today as Lieutenant Colonel Shaffer. And by the way, you don't know this, that was reinvestigated as well. Because they complained to the Army about how did he get promoted? It's like, well, because it was legal. And so it's not been a pleasant journey, but one which has been very enlightening. And I have found folks along this path, as bizarre it has been, fellow truth speakers like S.E.A.L, people who are dogged like Mike, and of course Peter, who by his brilliance as a producer at ABC News has been able to transfer that into maybe not as a financially viable work area that it is before, but I think much more important by the fact he's standing up and going to do the right thing. So that's my conclusion here today. Is this is not over yet, and the simple fact that people like Patrick Fitzgerald, who may not like the truth, may not be fans of it, don't have the right to change it. And it's important to have the debate, to have everything put out. And so congratulations on what you're doing. I wish you the very best, and I hope we move this forward. Thank you.